welcome to The Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back.
Hello.
And, well, I've seen quite a lot of things. It's quite nice.
Yeah,
We've actually seen things this week.
Stuff. Great.
We were just discussing whether or not to mention Doctor Who. So I've mentioned it now. It's fucked.
Yeah.
And let's move on. I don't even. I think it's been covered. I think it's been covered.
Making the whole show just about that. If we're
and
not careful,
and I feel like, given the reaction online, on YouTube, on Twitter, it's been covered. So
yeah.
That's
I
how
think,
we agree.
All we can say is that
let's move on.
Yeah, we're not happy.
But it's, as we were saying before, we'll always love Doctor Who.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's just this was a bad idea, and that's fine. And then they can
now have to have an actual cut off in our head.
To
a certain point,
and I'm fine with that. I always to be honest,
I can't say I'm fine with it, but I'm like.
Well, I must say, to be honest, I've always kind of in my head the classic series was always kind of separate in my head from the new stuff anyway, from like the stuff they brought back.
Have a sort of an almost disconnect.
I don't know why. I don't know why, because the new series has been great for the most part, and I've really enjoyed the 2008 was it when they brought it back, or maybe earlier, I don't know. Whenever they came back with 5. 2005?
Yeah, something like that,
yeah. Eccleston's run onwards, I thought they did a great job, but for some reason in my head I've always separated the classic Who, and I don't know why, but it's fine. It is what it is, and I'm
2005 is when they came back,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've made a mess of it, and I don't know what they're going to do. At some point in the future, someone's going to try and retcon this. I don't even know how.
God, I hope so. I hope they just. Like the master made it all up or something. That's the only explanation that I think
it's all just a dream. But anyway, it is what it is, and like I said, it's out there. So I think it's safe to say we agree with the popular opinion right now. It's not a good idea. It's a terrible idea. But anyway, we're going to move on because, as Matt said, we're in danger of filling a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
So let's continue with that. Do you want to start with films? We've been watching some films.
Yeah, well, then let's start with the film then. Which one should we do?
Go for it.
Should we go with The Colour Out of Space, because we've both seen that one first?
Yes, let's go with The Colour Out of Space, which for me is a Film of the Year contender right now.
I've seen pretty good films this year already.
I haven't. I've seen some naff January horror and February horror. So this for me, it has immediately jumped to the top of the pile. Directed by Richard Stanley of Hardware fame, another film I thoroughly enjoy.
Do you know, he's one of those people that completely got a rough shot. He could have.
Yeah, I don't know why.
He could have been a great director, but after all the stuff with he got kicked off the set of Dr. Moreau, didn't he?
That's right.
There was all that stuff with the Dr. Moreau, which was a complete fucking disaster.
Yeah,
and I don't think he ever sort of really came back after that. Not as a director, anyway.
No, he didn't seem to. No,
which is a shame because he's a really good director. I think.
I think so too.
And this is it's Elijah Wood's company, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I forget the name of them, but it is Elijah Wood's company. And it's obviously based on The Colour Out of Space by H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Starring Nicolas Cage and Teresa Gardner. It's based on the short story and basically follows Nicolas Cage's character, Nathan, I think.
Nathan Gardner.
And
which is the name of the people in there. The name of the family in Colour Out of Space as well.
Yes, yeah. So his wife has had cancer and had an operation. She's in recovery.
Yeah.
So he's moved to this rural farm, and he's like,
they're raising alpacas.
Raising alpacas for milk.
Was it just me, or was it when he said the line "time to milk the alpacas"? I laughed for
it was
about
hilarious.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I know it was funny.
I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, and I love it. At one point, they were like, "Doesn't his daughter point out?" She's like, "People don't drink this stuff. People don't drink alpaca milk." Or was it meat? Was he talking about killing them? And then he was like,
"To milk alpacas, but you have to be really delicate."
It's like So this family are kind of a little bit mental to begin with. It's kind of established.
Well, the opening scene is fantastic. It's the daughter performing a
Wiccan
ritual.
Yeah, she's doing Wiccan,
fantastic.
Which I thought was a really lovely scene as well, because she's basically turned she's like early teens, and she's turned to Wiccan, and she's trying to heal her mum, basically.
Yeah.
She was trying to do a Wiccan ritual to try and heal her mother, because she's worried that her mother's going to die of cancer. She's in recovery, but, well, cancer's a fucker, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they've moved to this rural farm, and they're going to grow tomatoes and drink alpaca milk. While they're there, they then get a visit from, I don't know, the Environment Agency or something. Water board, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like he's called Philip Ward, isn't he?
Yes. And he's from the water board, and he's found, or he's looking into the water there that he thinks might be contaminated or may have issues.
Ward Phillips, that's it.
Ward Phillips, yes. And then one night, this.
Well, I think it's because he's there because I think they're planning on they're planning on making building a dam. I think that whole area I think is going to be underwater. That's the end.
Oh, you're right. Yes, you're right. Sorry, yes.
He's there to sort of test the water and to tell them that
that it's whether it's safe to drink or not.
Yeah.
Because that's right. Because they're building on the area, and he's like. Nicolas Cage's character Nathan is like a holdout. He's bought this land and he's not giving it up. So he's not in very good standing with the mayor or anyone else. The planners they just they can't stand him really, but they have no choice. They have to put up with him. So this guy is there. You're right. I'd forgotten that the guy is there to check the water. Following,
and he's also the narrator as well. He narrates the.
Yes, he does. Yeah. So one night this meteorite. Lands in their garden, effectively, or just out front of their house,
near their well.
With this crazy, glowing this crazy purple color, and I immediately had flashbacks to Mandy because the color of it with Nicolas Cage there, it was like, I'm having Mandy flashbacks right now, which is no bad thing.
Something to do. I think it's magenta. Something to do with. I only looked this up briefly, but it's something to do with magenta. Is the only color that works on 2 wavelengths or something.
Okay.
So you can only see it in certain circumstances.
Right.
I don't know how true that is, but apparently that's why they picked that colour.
Okay. So following this, the family begin to effectively go kind of mad. Each of them in their own way starts to go a little insane.
The youngest kid starts hearing voices in the woods, and
he's obsessed with the well, isn't he? The Wiccan girl becomes more and more convinced that her Wiccan thing might work. And Nicolas Cage's character just gets more and more Nicolas Cagey. The wife for the most part is okay up until a point.
Up until there's an incident.
But the thing I really liked about this film is that the first half to 3/4 of the film, you're like, maybe it was just something in the water.
Yeah.
Because they go back the next day, they get the mayor and everyone there, and it's disappeared. The rock's disappeared, hasn't it? It's gone. And they're like, he was right here. Like, it was here.
Yeah.
And for a while, you're just kind of like, maybe like a meteorite did fall there, but they saw this light, but it wasn't really there. They're just kind of drinking something in the water. Because the guy from the water board comes back and he is like, no, that water is contaminated. You shouldn't be drinking it. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but,
there's something.
Don't be drinking it. So you kind of get a sense of like, maybe they're just mad. Like maybe this water is sending them insane. And the film does play it, I thought, reasonably safe for the first 3/4 of the film. They're over half to 3/4 where you think maybe they're just going mad because
they're
of the
already
water.
all tense and sort of wound up anyway. So,
they're all tense and wound up. They're stressed over
the
wife. Nicolas Cage is becoming more and more Nicolas Cagey with each passing day.
The Nicolas Cage dial is turning up.
Yeah, the wife injures herself quite horrifically at one point. But you know, all in the service of maybe it's just that this water is doing this. And I got to a point in the film where, I don't know about you, but I was like, okay, this isn't going to go too hardcore. This is just going to kind of be where we're at.
They've been quite careful not to see anything. And then there was one thing that's turned up that was like, okay, right, there's definitely something wrong with it.
You get to that flip and you're like, okay, there's definitely something in this. It's not the water. It's definitely something's going on here. And then it just goes. And it goes hardcore. I was so pleased. My friend messaged me, actually, because I messaged a bunch of people because I was like, this is already on Google. This is already on YouTube. I didn't realize it was on YouTube, so I rented it immediately. But I think I messaged you or messaged a bunch of people. I was like, it's on YouTube. Just, go rent it. Like, it's fantastic. And my friend had watched part of it, then went to work. And I was like, oh, where are you at the moment? And he was like, oh, I'm at this point. And I was like...
he left it at the good...
and I was like, dude, it goes mental after the point that you stop. So when you go home and watch the rest of it, you're in for a real treat, because it really does ramp up. I mean, it gets to, like, the Thing levels of... fucked up and weird.
Yeah.
And it's very Lovecraftian, which is great. I mean, obviously that's what you want from a Lovecraft adaptation. But I don't really want to say too much because because the visuals and the things that happen are awesome.
There's one in particular that happens with the mother was just like, wow, they
really did that.
Wow, okay.
Yes, do you mean the bit with the son and the mother? Because I was very surprised they went there.
I was.
And it was at that point actually that I kind of sat back and I was like, oh wow, they're really doing this. Like they're going all out. Because it does lull you into a bit of a false sense of security where you think, oh, this is going to be quite an understated horror movie. It's not going to be like too like crazy and then that happens. And I was like, wow, okay. I loved this film. I thought it was terrifically well directed. I thought it was...
The visuals are fantastic.
The pacing was superb.
Yep.
I loved that it lulled me into that false sense of security.
It gave you just enough sort of... It was just beginning to get a bit sort of like something better happens soon.
And then it really does. Which is the best kind of pacing you want, isn't it? You're kind of like, I'm on for the ride. And you're like, this is this wrapping up now? Like, I don't really want it to wrap up if that's all we're going to see, if that's as far as it's going to really go.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, oh, he's just going to end up killing all of them. Like, he's just going to end up going mad, shooting them all, and himself, and that'll be the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But then it just goes in this wonderful, horrific direction.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been more happy. I can't recommend this film highly enough. I thought
the girl, the daughter of Lavinia, played by Madeleine Arthur, I thought she was fantastic,
terrific.
She was really good. I don't think I've seen.
I thought the wife as well. I think that was Teresa Gardner.
No, Jodie Richardson.
Jodie Richardson. She was great as well.
Yeah, she was really good. I don't think I've ever seen Jodie Richardson do a role like this before, because usually she's very mumsy. She plays a lot of mumsy roles.
I thought she was terrific. Especially in dealing with her recovery from her mastectomy and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought she did a great job. I think all the performances in this were absolutely superb.
We should also mention Tommy Chong as well, who's the old hippie in the woods.
He's great. He is superb. So what? Yeah, well, that's right. Because their family is quite dysfunctional, and one of them has become a stoner, and he goes to visit this old aging hippie out in the woods, who is terrific.
Yeah,
his character. I want to film about his character. He was just great. So yeah, Color Out of Space. Cannot recommend highly enough.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Really good. If you want a genuinely good horror movie, I think this is definitely it.
100%. Absolutely loved it. Did you want to go first on the films one of us has watched, the other hasn't?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I saw The Invisible Man.
And I've heard terrific things about The Invisible Man. So, I'm excited to hear what you thought of it.
It's Blumhouse.
Yeah. Who used to be great and are now a bit hit and miss these days. I guess it's natural because they've got so many things going on.
I was going to say
it's kind of inevitable, but
sort of, it's not quite on the same level, but they do remind me of that old like the Electric Boogaloo thing. What do you call it? They did. Oh, the company that did Break In and all those movies.
Oh yeah, Canon.
They kind of remind me of Canon, except for they're not quite as sort of like mad and
I mean, I've got some very fond memories of Canon,
but they do sort of chuck.
Love them.
As long as it seems to me that as long as you've got a good idea, they will chuck a bit of money at you. It's just enough.
The thing is, I'm always going to be happy because a company like Blum, they are just. Putting so much money into horror, and that is my bag.
They keep it within their means. That's what I like about them.
Yeah.
They don't. So far they haven't made the mistake that a lot of the companies do, and at some point go, we need to spend all this money.
No. They've been sensible.
They've obviously looked at things like Canon and stuff and have gone, right, that's where they went wrong.
That's why they're not around anymore.
They've destroyed themselves. Let's not do that.
I agree. And for the most part, their films have been good.
Yeah,
I will be honest with you. I'm not going to the cinema to see Fantasy Island, but
no.
But this looks great.
Apparently awful.
So
it's Elizabeth Moss, Oliver Jackson Cohen, and Aldis Hodge, and it starts off like amazingly tense from the beginning. So it's Elizabeth Moss character. She's lying in bed, and she slowly gets up and gets out of bed, and she leaves. She's sort of like she's drugged her husband, or not. I'm not sure if it's her husband or a partner anyway. She's drugged him and he's asleep, and she's a really big high tech house in the middle of sort of like nowhere sort of thing. And she's got this bag put away that she's getting, and she's trying to be as quiet as possible, and she's turned off all the security cameras, and she's turned off the security, and she's watching him on, like, she's got one camera watching him on her phone just to sort of
keep an eye on him.
And she's getting out, and basically she's got her sister picking her up, and she sort of, she escapes. And it turns out that her partner has been like keeping her, and he controls her and all this sort of stuff, and he's done terrible things to her to sort of keep her and all this sort of things. And she ends up staying with her sister, one of her sister's friends who's a cop, and then she gets this letter that says, her sister turns up and says he's killed himself.
Right.
So she goes to this lawyer who's her partner's brother, and he's got this letter where he says his brother left you this, and he's left her all this money so that every month she gets so much money, and unless she does like murder or she does something terrible, then she's got this money. And obviously as it goes along,
it's all part of the plan.
Things start moving, stuff disappears. It's that sort of thing, and it genuinely is. They leave like there's like whole scenes where you can like you're constantly going, is he there? Is he there? Is he there? Because he really is invisible. You know it. He's apparently this scientist. He's this he's the like the number one expert on optics apparently.
Right.
So
So we're beyond. We're talking classic Invisible Man, right?
Yeah.
Like we're beyond the Predator. We're like it's invisible completely. You cannot even see the outline. Invisible.
No. You can see nothing. It's completely invisible. And yeah, it's from there. It's what is happening. Is it really him? Is she
obviously going
they're
mad?
Making her look like she's mad and stuff.
Right.
But Elizabeth Moss is fantastic anyway. She's I don't think I've ever seen her give a bad performance. I still haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale, but she was in like Mad Men and stuff like that, and Girl Interrupted, and she's been in some really fucking awesome good movies. And her performance, mostly it hangs on her because she's almost in frame all the time, and the tension is really well done. It's really sort of like you want her to get away. You want her to sort of like the things that are happening are really horrific. And
because I'm told as well that like the tension in this film is horrendous at times.
It's real nail biting stuff.
Because my friend has said to me that like everything in this film just has like a different feel to it. Like because like even a scene where two people are just having a conversation takes on a whole different meaning when you don't know whether there's someone watching or not.
That's it.
And
you constantly think
it's terrific.
Because the way they film it as well, like I said, like a lot of the shots are slightly off center, so that it gives you all that space
where you're like, there must be something. Well, they wouldn't have done that if there wasn't something happening.
You must be in that space. And it's completely nail biting. Really, really well done. It's. I know. They keep saying it's. I don't want to say the dark universe thing, but that's what you.
My favorite.
It's I think it's Universal. So
it is Universal. They own the rights to the Invisible Man.
And it's. He is called Griffin.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't
feel like it feels more like a science fiction-y thing than a horror, I guess. It's from that perspective. Then I suppose it was anyway.
Yeah, the original Invisible Man is lumped in with classic horror, but it's really not. I mean, there was quite a lot of comedy in the original Invisible Man. To be honest, it's kind of a dark comedy, if anything.
Yeah, this is not.
No, this looks dark as shit.
There are very few chuckles in this movie.
Yeah,
it's all about the tension and the build.
See, this sounds like it. This is how you reboot something. Because I will always think that first run of Universal horror movies is perfect. It's fine. Leave it alone. I love just do something different with it. That's great. Do something different.
They have tried to, but each time I don't know. There's always felt like there's something off.
Mm-hmm.
The
Wolfman, Van Helsing.
There are bits
Dracula Untold, the Mummy, the Mummy,
wrong.
all the mummies.
See, I think that though. If you go into the Brendan Fraser,
they're fine for what they are.
Great.
They're fine for what they are.
Second one's okay. Third one was. Well,
I think I've only seen the first one, to be fair, but
the first one I still think holds up as a really good adventure movie.
It's fine, isn't it? It's Indiana Jones, with a bit more.
I really quite like that movie.
It's not a mummy movie. That's the thing. For me, it wasn't a mummy movie. It was something else, and it was fine for what it was.
Yeah, exactly. It was an adventure movie. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was an adventure movie,
which is great because you like all those characters. And they are great characters.
Yeah,
and this is definitely a horror movie. In its tension and its build up and stuff like that, it feels somewhat removed from what those are, but then I don't think that's a bad thing. It just means that feels. I guess it's closer to something like The Hollow Man than.
Sure, and the thing is as well, the original is kind of the original movie was a film of its time, and it just wouldn't really work today. Like, just drinking a potion and becoming invisible, it's not gonna really do it.
I don't know. I'd still buy it if it was done. If it was done right.
Maybe. Yeah, I suppose they could bullshit their way through it.
With all these movies, there's a certain amount of like brain lock off.
Of course.
Have to. With this, there are certain bits in this even where she does things, and you think, "Where the fuck are you doing that?" Don't do that. Do that. But then that's just the nature of these movies. I think again,
of course it is.
You have to have a certain amount of brain lock,
and someone under a tremendous amount of stress and tension.
Yeah. And she really is.
And that's the thing. So I think you can forgive silly actions by people. I do often think that in horror movies when people are like, why would you do that? And it's like, that's an incredibly tense and scary and like mind-bending situation. You're not necessarily fine, but
there's sometimes people make stupid mistakes when there's no tension, there's nothing going up, and you just think, no, you're just being an idiot now.
Yeah.
And it's not quite as bad as that, but there are a few times where you just go, just do that.
I rewatched Jeepers Creepers the other week.
I haven't seen that since it
came out. It's still a fun movie, but it does, like, immediately at the start of that movie, you're like, why would you fucking go back there? Just fuck off, like, go and find the police. Like, you're absolutely deserving of everything that happens.
I think there is a certain amount of Darwinism in horror movies.
Of course there is.
There is a certain amount of idiot kids doing stupid things.
Absolutely,
fine,
absolutely. And I finished the first draft of The 12th Day yesterday. Brilliant. And you was just writing that, you're like, you're being an idiot, but you kind of have to be because it serves the script. And do you want a slasher movie or not?
That's the thing. You can't have them all being perfect, otherwise it just wouldn't work.
No, absolutely. And then there are those points where you're like, well, for the sake of the narrative, I need this person to be in that place for this to happen, separated from this person. And, maybe I've written myself into a hole. I don't know. But I'm like, 85% of the way through this script. I'm not going back to, try and, as much as I can. I need to make this work. So, at the end of the day, do you want to film or not? So I get it. They have to.
I think that's certainly with this one. There's nothing.
And I think if she's being tormented by someone like this, you can kind of make out, well, she's probably tired. Yeah. She's not slept. She's not thinking straight. Yeah,
it's got a great end. It's got a great,
I'm looking forward to this.
Build up. It's genuinely a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad
because, like I said, I don't want to. I'm certainly not going to give anything away at this point.
No.
But it's a bloody good movie.
I really
enjoyed it. Highly recommend it.
It's one of those things. The Universal horror movies are so near and dear to my heart, and it's broken my heart that because I am with Universal horror. I am in a unique position, because normally I'm like, oh, fucking remake, don't remake it. Universal Horror, I'm always like, oh, I want them to remake them. I want them to do really good modern interpretations of these films.
I don't know why that it is with those, but I kind of do.
I'm fine with it. But they just do it wrong so often. And like, sometimes they get it right. I mean, I think Mary Shelley's Frankenstein does not get enough love.
I bloody love. I don't know why
it's a good movie. It's a
people
good
don't
movie.
like that movie. I think it's a great movie,
and I think it's one of the best makeup jobs. I mean, he still looks terrifying today. He looks like a person who's been sewn together from different people. That's how you'd expect it to look. And he heals during the movie, which is amazing. The scars start healing and stuff.
You see him pulling out the threads and things when it's
and Stoker's Dracula was superb. I loved that movie.
There's a lot of problems with Stoker's Dracula.
You know what?
However,
I think the visuals and Gary Oldman just carry it through. It's fine. We can ignore Winona Ryder and we can ignore Keanu Reeves. It's actually Winona Ryder is the biggest problem with that film, actually, I think.
Oh, I think Keanu's worse.
I don't know.
Keanu was definitely completely wrong. The thing is that
I mean, they're both wrong. Don't get me wrong. They're both.
The difference is without Winona Ryder, you wouldn't have got that movie. She was the one who came up with the script.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
So
totally.
Without her, you wouldn't have it anyway. But there's that.
She could have not been in it, though, and I would have been thankful for her forever for bringing this film to...
I don't think she would have wanted that. I think she...
No.
She did it with a purpose in mind.
It's a terrific film, despite its flaws. But in recent years, like, they did Dracula Untold, and I was like,
there were some bits in that were really good.
Very small bits. The 5 minutes with Charles Dance was great.
I was going to say mainly Charles Dance.
Yeah. It was like... The thing is, and you go... I always go watch these movies because I'm like, they're doing it. Let's give it a chance, and let's go. And then you go, and it's like, someone just fucking loved Game of Thrones and just thought, let's just fucking make Dracula that for hour and a half.
Well, the thing is what they want is they want him to be a sympathetic character. They want to give him a sympathetic character.
Well, he does have a sympathetic background to an extent, and that's fine.
Not great,
but he is.
Really.
He's a monster and a sexual predator, and that's the whole point of him. Like, don't make him. I like having an element of tragedy, and I like having an element of that's fine, but. He's got to be a monster.
That movie really actually riffs heavily on Bram Stoker's.
It does, it really does.
It's hugely showing its influence on that in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, and what's his face? I can't remember what his name is now. The lead actor. But
I forget his name. He was fine.
He was fine.
I could have watched him in that role. I just wish it was a better film. And you can tell that was the start of their dark universe. Again, the Wolfman. The Wolfman's probably the one that came closest. I think
Luke Evans.
I feel like the Wolfman came closest to being like, there were some good moments in that film. There was that, I say good moments. There was that one scene in that film that I really like. The scene where he's on the in the auditorium and they're like, you're mad, and then he just transforms and starts tearing people apart.
That was cool.
That scene is awesome, and the visuals are quite good. They made it. It was a great update on the Wolfman. It was like he doesn't look like a werewolf. He looks like the Wolfman. Great, but everything else just kind of failed. The Mummy was awful.
That Mummy was the
Have you seen that one? It's so bad.
It was on TV recently,
it's really awful, isn't it?
It's like I don't even know what they were trying to do with it.
And to your point, Brendan Fraser. The Mummy.
Yeah.
Right? Not a good horror movie. Not a good Universal horror movie, right?
No.
Great action flick.
Yeah, it's a great adventure movie.
Tom Cruise, The Mummy, fails at even being a good action movie. Yeah, it's not even a good action movie. It's just awful. Like, it's just terrible.
I mean, you can blatantly see they were trying their best to set up this, like, I can't remember what they called
they had like,
but it's like the Talamasha,
they had Dr. Jekyll in it and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, you're obviously
like their version of the Talamasha, isn't it? From Interview, it's that sort of behind the scenes thing that keeps their eye on monsters and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
That's fine. But
I love the idea of that if you're going to do a universe, but and again, it's
setting it up in that was such a weird way. They did it in such a weird way that it was like you didn't. Care.
No, and I also think that that Universal have forgotten that while they were, to my knowledge, the first cinematic properties to cross over and create a universe. I know people like to think that Marvel were the first people to do that. I'm pretty sure Universal were the first to go, here's those couple of properties, let's cross them over.
I mean, Hammer had the...
they did it before Hammer
as well. So,
but but they obviously did it before Hammer.
Yeah,
but
I meant before Marvel.
Sure. Oh yeah, before Marvel. But the thing they seem to forget is that is where those Universal horror movies just fell off the wagon. It's like, that wasn't a good period for you. That was, I mean, I love those movies for the cheesy
when they start
fun
doing
they are.
like the Abbott and Costello stuff.
But when they start doing the Monster Mash stuff, where they're like, oh, you know, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and, you know, House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, all of that stuff. I mean, it's entertaining, but the story at that point is in the toilet, and they're just like, oh, let's just force these characters in, you know, together. And so it doesn't, you know, that's not a good period for you. Don't try and recreate that. Do what they've done here. A standalone, awesome horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's a modern take on a classic. I can't wait to see this. It sounds terrific.
It's genuinely good. It's really, really good. And it's actually one of the best Blumhouse movies I've seen, I think.
That's good. I'm gonna.
And I quite like quite a lot of their output. So
I have. I'm
not big on a lot of their ghosty stuff, but
more often than not, I have enjoyed
Blumhouse
stuff. You know. I really liked, even Happy Death Day. I thought was
Happy
really
Death Day
fun.
is funny as
I haven't
fuck.
seen the sequel yet.
No,
I think that's
yet.
on Netflix now. I must check that out.
I haven't seen the sequel yet, but that movie is really funny.
Really good. And speaking of Netflix, I finally caught Girl on the Third Floor from 2019, which is now on Netflix, starring CM Punk.
Oh, Jesus!
I was so concerned. Obviously, ex-wrestler and MMA fighter, decided to make a horror movie, and I was a bit like, oh, okay. Because that can go one of two ways. It used to be back in the day, you were like, this is going to be terrible because he's not Roddy Piper, it'll be awful. But now we've got The Rock, and we've got Batista, and, you know, we've moved on from Hulk Hogan. We have some people that can actually act, and I mean, you do need to be pretty charismatic, and you do need to, you know, presumably remember some lines to you know, to put.
Well, I think a lot of them are better when they do things like what Kane does, which is just be the hulking, shadowy guy. And
actually, and that worked. I mean, See No Evil.
Yeah.
Was it See No Evil?
I think it's See No Evil.
Something like that. The movie that Kane is in.
And
really good movie. Hatchet's great. I mean, I don't think that's a wrestler, is it? I think that's Kane Hodder, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a wrestler, isn't he?
No. Is he? Maybe he is. I thought he was. I always just knew him as he was just played Jason. He's just Jason Voorhees.
Maybe
He's a big dude. He probably could wrestle back in the day. He's a bit old now, but maybe he was a wrestler at some point. I don't know. But in any case, so Girl on the Third Floor is kind of a medium to low budget movie directed by Travis Stevens, who I hadn't heard of before this film. I now want to go and check out his previous films because I really like this little movie. It's about an ex-lawyer called Don, who has been a history of being unfaithful to his wife, and he's looking to start a new life. So he's bought this old rundown house in the suburbs of Chicago, and he's going to fix it up to basically create the perfect home for him and his pregnant wife. And they're going to start a new life away from their old life. So he moves in ahead of her, because obviously she's heavily pregnant. He moves in ahead of her with his dog, and he's going to just basically renovate the house by himself. So the house is real rundown shithole, and he's like, I'm just going to do it all by myself. So he's basically just goes there day one, and it's a wreck, and he's just working on this house. Basically, it's he starts working on the house, meets a neighbor who basically kind of heavily hints that the house has a real sort of dark history, and it's a real kind of messed up place. But obviously he's not going to pay much attention to that. And it kind of descends into this like crazy like evil house movie.
Okay.
And basically he meets this girl who he ends up having this relationship or just having sex with regularly.
Right.
And just things get more and more fucked up and weird.
So he's not a nice guy then, anyway.
No, he's not a nice guy, although he is trying to be. And he does say, like, I can't do this anymore. You know, there was a point where he's like, I can't do this anymore. you need to leave. Because basically, once he's had sex with her, she starts turning up in the house all the time, and he's like, you cannot be here. Right. Like, he's FaceTiming with his wife, and she'll just be in the background, and she's like, who the hell was that? And he's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. So eventually he tells her she has to leave and stuff. But obviously there's a lot more to it than just this girl. It's not just a girl. And they make it quite clear early on that this house is genuinely, it's an evil place. It's a real messed up place. And so it follows Don for like most of the movie, and then it switches over to the wife towards the end. And I really like this film. It's a really cool sort of low to mid-low budget movie about a creepy house. Great visuals towards the end. Some real cool practical effects that they did. And yeah, I genuinely like it. And I was genuinely impressed. Travis Stevens is great as a director, and I really want to check out his other stuff now. But I was really impressed with CM Punk. Didn't think he'd be, I don't know, preconceptions about wrestlers or fighters. Anyone. Punk. Well, it's not his real name.
No, I presume it wasn't his real name.
It wasn't born CM, but whatever. So he, I was really impressed with him here. I thought he was great. I actually saw the other day on Twitter that he signed on to do another movie with Travis Stevens, which I'm all for, because I thought he was great in this. A great little horror movie. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend checking it out. I don't want to ruin anything, so I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but it's worth watching.
Something I forgot, actually, when we were talking about Killer Out of Space. Apparently it's a first of a 3 movies.
I know. And that really pleases me.
Apparently the second one is going to be the Dunwich Horror.
Oh, I love the Dunwich Horror.
I think I'm right in saying that.
Terrific.
So, that's
terrific news. I have the complete works right here. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I did see Ready or Not, but it's been out for a while. But I'm meant to bring it with me, so I'm going to
talk me through it, because it looks great.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, because I think that's on YouTube now. I might rent that.
I was going to say, because I was going to bring it. I got
if you got it, I'll wait for you to bring it. That's fine. I'm a cheapskate.
So basically, it came out it came out last year, and it's basically this girl called Grace who's just getting married to her fiance Alex, and she's marrying into this dynasty of board game makers.
Yes, yeah, I kind of got that from the trailer that they always pick some weird board game to play.
Yeah, there's anybody who's marrying into the family. At midnight they have this box that they pick a card from, and they have to play whatever game the box tells them to play.
Right,
and she picks hide and seek, which is the one card that you don't really want to pick.
Do they insinuate that is the worst card?
Yes.
Right, okay. So they're like, of all the cards you could have picked, that was the one you didn't want.
No.
But to each other.
Yes.
Because now I'm really curious, like, I'm guessing a lot of them get killed off, but it'd be really cool to see what the other cards were. It's like, what are the other games like?
It's really funny, and but it's also nicely brutal, and there's some real wince-inducing moments that I've really enjoyed. It's got Adam Brody, who was in, like, the CW. Is it the CW he was in? No, the OC, that was it. He was in the OC and stuff. And he's actually quite good. And Samara Weaving is the main actress, and she was in... what was that one that she was in? She was in something really good as well.
So I've heard very good...
Free Billboard, she was in that. And she's been in the Babysitter, that was what she was in. She's Hugo Weaving's niece, apparently.
Oh, right.
And it's got Andy McDowell on it, which I haven't seen Andy McDowell in anything for a while.
No.
And it's basically they're all locked in this house, and it's them sort of like playing hide and seek in this house. And
Deadly hide and seek.
I don't want to spoil anything, but it was really real fun, and it reminded me a bit of You're Next to a certain degree.
Sure. Another film I really enjoyed. Actually,
really good. Yeah. So I'd recommend that if it's on Netflix. I'd recommend that because it's a real fun little horror movie.
Great. Oh well, I look forward to checking that out. Another film that I rented because I was like, I've never really rented films on YouTube before. But it's I've been watching YouTube a lot lately, and it's just, it's there. And now that I've looked at, now that I've rented one, it's like, all these films that you can rent if you want to rent. And there's something I really like about renting a movie. It's like a couple of quid, and I'm like, it takes me back to the days of going down the video shop, and I mean, it's not the same, but it's it's like, well,
I got the actual the Colour Out of Space I got off Sky, so.
Oh right, okay. Well, I'm buying the Colour Out of Space. Just for clarification, that's not going to be a rental. No, I'm buying it.
That's going to sit right next to Mandy, that one, I think.
Yeah, totally. So I watched What We Leave Behind, looking back at Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
It is a documentary about Deep Space Nine, featuring all of the producers, the writers, and the actors and actresses involved in the production of the series. And they kind of talk through the difficulties they had in making it, the casting, the reasons that the cast wanted to be involved in it, and also has this real kind of fun side discussion where they get the writers together and the producers together, and they basically write in during the documentary. They write the first episode of the next season of Deep Space Nine. So they're like, if we're going to make episode 1 of the next season of Deep Space Nine, what do we do? And then they go through the whole process of how they would have written an episode. So they go through the whole process so basically they storyboard out and write the next episode of a not happening series of Deep Space Nine. And they kind of animate it, so they kind of show you what would have happened, and it's really good. And it's like, oh my god, if you did this today, because basically they're like, oh well, we'll do it as if this amount of time has passed.
Right.
And they're like, so all the characters are doing different things, and like, this is where the characters are at the moment. Opens with a real shocking opening and stuff, and then it continues on. And I was like, this is really good for like a one-off episode, because obviously they didn't have a plan. So it was like, but at the end, they're like, and then this happens, and then that's the end of episode 1. And then they're like, well, we've probably written ourselves into a hole, but we don't have to write it in episode 2, so it doesn't matter. It's like, this is basically our idea of like, just sat there, just shooting the shit and coming up with this story. It's real fun. But it's a terrific documentary going into, all aspects of the show. Like, like I said, the casting, the conception, they very, very quickly gloss over the Babylon 5 thing. They're like, oh yeah, Babylon 5,
really?
move on.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I would have been very it would be very brave of them and interesting if they had gone that route, but they didn't really. They mentioned Babylon 5 and they're like,
that exists.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we got compared. I think at one point one of them's like, oh yeah, we got compared to Babylon 5 and whatever.
You just got compared to
and move on.
Right.
And, fine, whatever. Really, really good documentary. I highly recommend renting it or checking it out. It's really good. Interviews with all the primary principal cast. And real touching tributes at the end to all the ones that had died, and really sad because at that point, obviously, 2 more then died following that, who were obviously interviewed, like Odo and guy who played Nog. No? Nog? Yeah, Nog's a kid, right? Yeah, Nog. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking, was it Nog or Rom? I was getting too confused.
Nog died, yeah.
Complications
to diabetes, wasn't it?
Yeah, apparently so. I really highly recommend it. It's a great look at that show.
Do they speak to Jeffrey Combs?
Yeah, they speak to everyone. They pretty much get everybody that they can. You can tell that they're all interviewed at different times. Like some of them, some of them are probably older interviews, and some, but it's a very good film. Oh, highly recommend it if you have a love for Star Trek and Deep Space Nine. It's great. Picard wasn't very good at the time, and I thought this might cheer me up, and it did. So there we go. Should we talk about Picard, or should we leave?
Picard? Yeah, let's go on. Let's do it.
All right. So I can't remember where we left off.
So we've 2 episodes we've got to discuss.
So that's what I thought. So the Impossible Box and Nepenthe. I think Nepenthe, not
which apparently is a drug from something. I forget what.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was just the name of the planet.
No, somebody said something. Somebody told me, and I can't remember what it's from. I'm going to have to look it up.
Okay. So I have already forgotten quite a lot of the Impossible Box, but effectively, they finally get to the cube. The story starts. We're like 5-6 episodes in at this point, and the story begins. They finally get to the cube, and they get Picard to beam down, and he meets up with Hugh. I thought for the most part, this episode was actually probably the best episode they've done.
The box one.
Yes.
Or okay.
At that point.
Right. Gotcha.
So up to that point, I was like, this is probably the best episode they've done.
It's from the Odyssey. It's what banishes grief and trouble from a person's mind.
Oh, okay, right. So I actually thought this was probably the best episode they'd done up to this point.
Well,
and I think to take a quote from one of the guys at Trek Yards, I think put it best, where they said, watching Picard has been like watching, it's not Star Trek. And all the episodes have been like not Star Trek. And they said this is the first episode where it had kind of gone from just like a bad show to being a bad Star Trek episode. They were like, this is the first one that felt like a Star Trek episode. It didn't feel like a particularly good one, but it was like, Star Trek. And I must admit, I kind of feel the same way. Where, when Picard meets Hugh and they have that embrace, and I'm like, oh, there's some levity.
That was good.
They're really happy to see each other.
Yeah.
I hope that Hugh goes on to some wonderful things after this episode. I genuinely was like, oh, this feels like Star Trek.
Yeah.
And when they're talking about the Borg drones, I love Picard's PTSD on the cube.
See, now that was so for me, that was the best thing. It's fucking Patrick Stewart, so it's
of course.
I mean, it's like
even when he's not really trying,
his performance for the PTSD stuff was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was
great.
It was so good. I'm still not convinced that's how he would act, but what he was doing was so good and so really, really brilliant.
And I really loved the moment when Hugh showed him the what he was doing there, and Picard's like, "What you're doing here is great," and he was like, we're very much under the Romulans' boot here.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do something with this. And I thought, that's what Picard would do.
Yeah.
Like that's something I could see in his retirement, Picard being like, no, I'm going to dedicate my life to helping ex-Borg drones now because I am one and I've experienced that. Yeah. So all of that I thought was superb. And I was like, this is easily the best episode they've done. Then the end completely falls over.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And I thought it was a great episode until about 10 minutes towards the end.
It's always the same. It's whenever you're on screen with Picard, fine. Whenever they cut away to somebody else, it's just like, God, when are we going back to Picard?
Yeah, I agree. So in the end, they find this. They have to escape the cube. Effectively, they find Soji. She gets activated.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's he does that. He's got the Romulan, the dashing Romulan spy,
Narek.
He takes her to this Romulan meditation thing to get all the information out of her that he can about her dream.
Yes,
and that's where she discovers that she's not real, and he's trying to he's getting her to tell him where she is in this dream, so they can extrapolate what planet she's on, and they can go and find where she came from.
Yeah,
and then he's got this box. This puzzle box that he keeps fiddling with.
The impossible box.
Yeah, the impossible box that he keeps fiddling with.
But do you get it? Because it's also the Borg cube?
Yes.
Do you get that?
Yeah, I
get how clever they're being?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Very
just checking you know how clever the writing is in the show.
So he gets what he needs to, and he puts the box down, and he leaves the room and locks her in there.
Yeah.
Right. So he leaves her in...
So it's the same thing they did in Nemesis, right? It's the same thing they used in Nemesis to kill off the council.
But the thing is... He doesn't really know anything about this girl. He doesn't even know if poison gas will work.
I'm assuming they know it will work in the same way that they knew that her sister would explode. I don't know, but then I'm assuming.
Again, why didn't he just do that? The other guy he had a gun. Just shoot her.
Well, yeah, and that was the weird thing because it's like he's activated her.
Yeah,
and it's like, so you've activated her. You know she's really strong, right?
Fucking shoot her.
Yeah,
and I still don't understand that either. They've said she's got a positronic brain in a human body. How can she punch through floors and stuff?
Well, apparently she can. I'm also not quite sure why she didn't punch through the door, which would seem to be a much easier bloody solution than punching through the floor.
Well, the floor was wood, supposedly, wasn't it? So, I mean...
Well, you're still going to have Borg cube underneath it, though.
That's what I mean. It's like...
And being a Borg cube, you've no idea what's under you.
No.
You could just be like, great.
Yeah.
So then so this is where the episode all fell apart, and then
they've got the Queen. They go
to the Queen chamber.
The Queen chamber, and it's
to escape
like a sort of teleporter.
Well, that's from bloody Voyager, and again another deep bloody reference Deep Cut.
Yeah, I was trying. I couldn't place what.
It's that race that Voyager went to, and they had this whole planet, and the planet's energy was based around this teleport thing that could teleport you like 40,000 light years or something away, because Voyager were like, we need this technology, and they won't sell it to them, we won't give it to them, or something like that. And I was like, well, that's a really deep cut, because I had to look that up to even figure out that's what it was from. And I was like, well, fair play. And this is a weird thing, like in some ways they've done real deep dives, and in other ways they've just ignored stuff altogether. It's really weird.
They've definitely done a weird sort of pick and choose thing.
Yeah. So Hugh tries to save Picard and Soji, getting them off the cube by sending them through his teleport.
And don't forget, you've also got the Rivendell.
Elrond.
The Rivendell.
Elrond comes in.
Romulan, who's...
So he turns up
to save them, as it were.
This kid who's lived on a planet and knows nothing about transporters or anything else manages to transport himself directly to where Picard is. We don't know how. But apparently he now has that
was the
ability.
other thing I didn't understand about that whole thing, is like...
He knows nothing. He literally knows nothing.
They made all that fuss about trying to get into the Borg cube with all the sort of like, Picard needs papers and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
And he just transports over and no one's there to meet him.
Well, I think even more simply than that,
Romulans not... You'd have thought, if Romulans know that Picard's coming... You'd have put a whole fleet of of people there to stop him, or just to watch him.
And the weird thing for me was like this kid has literally lived on this planet his whole life. And that's the whole point they've been making about him, is that he has no worldly experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
How does he know how to even use the transporter? How did he even leave the ship without someone transporting him? How did he even figure that out? I don't even understand how he got there.
I mean,
it was like the plot just needed him there.
I don't even understand how he doesn't know how to make it out.
Well, but they've kind of gone to great lengths to make that point, that he just doesn't know what happens. So it's kind of weird to then be like, oh, well, somehow he managed to beam himself onto a Borg cube that's heavily shielded and protected, and very odd. And then they escape to the planet. So I thought overall it was probably the strongest episode they'd done to that point. It was a shame it fell down at the end.
It was a half enjoyable, half dull again.
Yeah.
His performance was fantastic. Was really, really good.
Yeah, and Hugh's performance.
And Hugh was good. He was really nice.
Because that is his real name.
Yeah. But oh man. So let's move on to the next one, shall we?
Nepenthe.
Yeah.
So they arrive on Nepenthe, which is where the Rikers or Troys live. Should be Troy, shouldn't it?
I think it's both.
They've taken both.
Riker Troy.
They've taken both. But I think traditionally it was meant to be that Beta Z's. It was the female name that they take, not the males. But but I guess they've just they've come to a compromise.
Hugh's name is Jonathan Del Arco.
That's right. Yeah. So so they end up on Nepenthe, which is as Picard puts it, a desperate last minute no hope decision. He needed help, and that's where he went. Sorry. Before we do that, let's rewind back to the last episode.
Oh, we forgot about
the fact that the Borg have the technology to transport themselves en masse to any planet they want within 40,000 light years, and haven't used this technology to just take over the entire universe at this point.
All it was used for was for the Queen.
That was like...
For escape.
What the fuck? Like, wouldn't the Borg have just assimilated the entire bloody Alpha... Alpha, Delta, Beta... Gamma, I mean, if they can literally teleport themselves onto a planet, they don't even need cubes anymore.
Nope.
So I thought that was missing. Anyway,
no, we also missed about the death thing. When they've killed off what's his face in the previous episode, and like Picard just accepts that. Oh no, he just died. It's fine.
Oh yeah, they don't even mention that.
No, it's like, oh yeah, no, his heart gave out. It's like, you're not going to question that then, no?
They accept that. I would have just been like, can we have the emergency medical hologram just to ask him what happened? Like, give me the actual.
She's not actually a doctor. She's a geneticist.
She's a geneticist. Yeah. Well, she's a cyberneticist.
Yeah.
She's not a geneticist.
No, sorry, a cyberneticist.
She deals with mechanics.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not a professional here. Like, what are you talking about? But they just accept it. So in any case, And so in this one, they kind of go some way towards resolving what happened to the emergency medical hologram, where like it's clearly been disabled somehow.
Yeah.
But they don't really explain that in the episode where she killed him. So it was really weird for that whole episode. I was like, why isn't he just turning up and being like, well, you just murdered someone. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Really odd. But in any case...
We also said that this actual episode starts with the Romulan... Not Romulan, she's Vulcan. The Vulcan...
oh, yes, it flashes back, because there's a flashback at the start of every episode now, I think.
Vulcan Admiral turning up to the cybernetic woman and giving her a mind meld.
Yes.
And now, the thing I didn't understand about that mind meld was she showing her what...
The future?
The future.
I don't know. And how does she know the future?
Because that's what I didn't understand. It's like, well, mind melds don't show you the future.
No. Well, unless she's seen the future, I guess. That's the only way that works, is that she's seen the future.
Yeah.
And, or maybe she can use a mind meld to imprint the idea of something. I'm assuming that it's not like... Because,
yeah, okay. I mean...
Because the thing is, that can't be the future. Because if that is the future, then everything Picard's doing is wrong, and the Romulans are fucking right. And the Romulans are actually the hero of this story, and Picard's screwing up the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the other alternative, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that this future is not what happens, and that the right thing to do is what Picard. I would hope they're meant to be the protagonists of the series.
If that's the case, then why don't you just tell Picard that?
But mind meld with Picard and be like, "Look, this is what could happen."
Why?
Yeah, and then Picard would be like, "Oh God, let's not do that. That's a terrible idea."
Yeah, so that's why she's seen some sort of weird possible future or something.
And again, she loved Maddox. She could have just talked to him. Yeah. Just been like, dude, this is bad, man. Like, I've seen a future. We can't be doing this, okay?
No, and she gets given this tracer that she swallows, and it's like in her body now.
Yes.
So that's how.
Yes, she's given a literal blue pill.
Yeah, that beeps and stuff. Yeah, okay, fine.
So, so in any case, let's so that's happening on the ship. So on the planet, Picard is...
You first meet their daughter.
Their daughter,
who
yes.
I actually thought was really good.
She's great. I thought the actress was superb.
Really brilliant.
Really liked her. Thought she was superb.
Can we just say, Troy and Riker were fucking awesome.
Can I say...
Also, there was no reason for them to be here in this series.
I actually thought it was fine. I actually...
no, it was no getting right. It was great. It was the best. It's the best thing that they've done in this series.
It's the best thing they've done.
But it's also, you can tell that they added it later.
See, I don't know. I thought it worked quite well.
They added it later.
Well, they might have done, but I think they've done a good job with it. I actually thought it worked. In terms of the narrative, I was like, it's fine, actually. I actually don't mind it. I thought it helped in terms of Soji kind of coming to terms with what she is, and that it's not all bad. I actually thought it was quite a well-made episode, which made me think, oh, well, if it was a reshoot, they did quite well. It makes me wonder what awful garbage they replaced to get to that point.
Well, I'm guessing that it previously made no sense at all.
It must have made no sense. And then this is a great course correction here. I wonder whether this is like late on in the series, late enough to where they were like, oh, we need to sort this out. And I wonder whether they've actually whether they've actually fixed the rest of the season now. I'm hoping that things get better now, because where they're like, we need to course correct this fast.
I don't really know where the series is going.
No. Well, we've only got two episodes left, 3 episodes at most. So we're going to find out soon. So can I say, by the way, I mean, yes, you're right. Great work by the actors here, but particularly, I'm not a Marina Sirtis fan. She was superb.
She was really good. Yeah,
she was like her acting in this is probably the best acting I've seen her do.
Yeah,
she was superb.
I agree. Yeah, completely.
She was great. And I mean, Riker was just on point. I thought this episode. It's
scary how massive he is as well.
He's a huge man.
Compared to old man Picard. It's like, you can tell that Patrick Stewart has shriveled a little as he's got older, because I don't remember. I don't remember Riker being.
He's a tall guy,
towering over him quite so much.
He's a tall guy. I think they shot Next Gen in such a way that they didn't show that.
Maybe.
I think that's what they did. I think they shot it because he's quite tall.
Huge.
He's a big dude.
I guess I'd never sort of seen it so obvious before.
Well, I guess he's put on a lot of weight as well, which makes him look even bulkier than he. But he is very tall.
He's like he's big and broad. He's not just sort of like a little chunky.
He's
just a big dude.
I think they shot it that way in Next Gen to kind of make it, because obviously, Picard was meant to be the hero captain.
Yeah.
And, I guess they didn't want him to look tiny. But he's lost a lot of weight, and he is, he has shrunk a bit.
Really old,
but I must admit, I had all the emotions watching this at times. It was so nice hearing Riker say "shields up." I was like, yeah. It was immediately the cadence and everything was straight back. It was like, that's Riker. That is Riker.
Yeah, that was good. But then you get the other stuff like
by the way. I mean, there are some issues with this episode. This is not really an issue. I'm nitpicking here, but who makes one pizza for a whole family of people? Like there's like 6-7 people in that room, and he's like, one pizza, one slice each. Like, great. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So the thing with the son.
So the son. Their son.
So they got a son that died.
Yes.
Who was born on a ship, and they took him here to sort of so he had this silicon-based disease
that could have been cured.
If they had a positronic brain.
Mm-hmm. So they come to this planet in desperation, hoping that the regenerative properties of the planet will help him. They didn't think to go outside the fucking Federation and find people that still have synths and just get treatment there.
Or
apparently they didn't think about that, because it's not just the Federation. You can go outside the Federation. Yeah. Like people that want certain surgeries that can't get them will just go to a different country here and just go I'll go there then and just get it done. It's like, also, you could just do that.
There are silicon-based life forms out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go to one of those.
No, they specifically said something positronic.
Yes, I know, and it was really.
Apparently.
It's like that, is it? Okay.
It is. It's like
and
that.
And also, the thing with when she started doing that a data twitch.
I liked that. Well, she did. What? She has done that previously.
I see now. I don't remember her doing a data twitch.
Actually, she didn't. Her sister did. Her sister did before she exploded. So she has done that. That has been a thing, and I did like that Riker immediately picked up on it. Yeah, I was like, that was cool. I thought, oh god, his performance in this was superb. It was so good, and I liked that. Again, it felt more positive. It felt like there was some. It felt like more next gen, more Star Trek. They were joking. They were happy in places. It was like, oh, we've had none of this for the last 6-7 episodes. No. It's been misery. Yeah. And now suddenly it was like, oh, good. Like some happiness. But this is like Star Trek.
The thing
right?
is, again, that's it. That's all you're going to get.
I don't know if it is. I am wondering whether they've added Riker turning up on a ship at the end of this. Just to help out. Maybe. Because he does say that he's on reserve active duty and it would take something big to get him back out. And I'm wondering whether they'll just force it in to where it's like, I think it would,
Maybe, I'm not sure they're going to, but...
Well, I mean, how it would be... I'm hoping, I could be wrong. But it would take very little for them just to have a shot of him on the bridge, because that's all they'd need. And then they could put in the CG of the ship turning up and, helping out, and that would have been it,
I'm not even sure whether they're even going to get another series of this.
Oh, they're definitely getting another season.
We don't even know where it's going. That's the thing.
Well, I'm assuming it's not going to wrap up.
No.
Because there's just not... there's too little left. They've spent too long dragging their heels and doing nothing.
Yeah.
The next episode, again, it looks good. It looks like they're actually moving forward now. It looks like the narrative is being furthered, but it's just too little too late. And I just don't know how they can fix it now.
Again, isn't it like every time you're with the other crew, it's like, God, what?
Oh, I would say
these characters are awful. I can't stand any of them.
I like Rios. I've said this before. I like him.
I don't get it.
I like him, and I must say, as much as I still hate Raffi, this was the best episode of her. She actually she was actually quite likable for a moment in this.
I didn't feel that at all.
Oh, I did. I thought she was actually okay. Better than she had been, anyway.
It's hard to express exactly how. I don't. I just don't care.
Fair enough. I mean, I should point out that I watched Doctor Who last weekend, so my expectations are low.
Yeah, there is that, I suppose. But it's my god,
I'm hoping that this is the turning point of the series, and we're going to get a bit more positive now.
Maybe.
It's not been all bad, and like you said, it's not been bad enough to stop watching.
That's True. I mean, actually, though, we also should bring up the
death of Hugh?
The death of Hugh and the murdering of all the Borg, the people, which was completely unnecessary because they already knew where they were going. He was already tracing her. Why do they need to...
Yeah. Bizarre. Hugh's death, I think... the thing is...
At least it was a clean, sort of quick death, unlike...
It was a clean, quick death. It wasn't torturous, which I thought the trailer made it look like it might be torturous. I think the thing that bothered me the most... I'm fine with him dying. I'm upset that he never got to see Geordi. That's the thing for me. I was like, I really wanted him to meet Geordi. And if he was still alive after this season, you could have done next season. He could have met Geordi again. And that would have been really nice. But it was nice because we got the Picard moment at least. Excuse me. The thing that bothered me the most was that he just died with no fanfare. He literally, she just throws a knife and he's dead. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, like, are you not going to have him at least have him have a heroic moment, or he just dies? Like, it was like she just throws a knife and he dies mid battle. It's like, oh shit, he's dead.
And then she teleports out, and then it's like, and then the kiddie's like, I'm guessing 7 of 9's going to turn up again.
She's in the trailer for the next episode. So,
right,
yes.
okay, I haven't seen
the next episode. Looks quite good. The next episode looks like things are kicking off. Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like 7 of 9 might be reactivating that Borg cube to kill off all the Romulans on it, potentially.
That's the impression I was getting. That they
which could be cool.
Because didn't he tell the kid how to... That he got
he's like, you need to activate the Borg cube and all of that stuff. And there's a clip from the next episode where 7 of 9 turns up and is immediately like, where's Hugh? So I'm assuming that she knows Hugh and that they're friends. I'm hoping...
So we've got 3 episodes left.
Oh, 3? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's still time for them to actually make this work or sync it all together.
Episodes 9 and 10 apparently are 2 parts. Well, hang on, this says there's 11 episodes, so how can it be 11 episodes if that's 9 and 10?
9 and 10 are probably just long episodes, maybe? Hang on. Where are we? Where are we? Let's have a look. There aren't 11 episodes then.
But according to...
Unless 10 is a 2-parter. Maybe 10's a 2-parter then.
11 episodes.
How weird. Maybe 10 is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Like it's an extra long episode or something. Maybe it's an extra long episode that they've forced together. I don't know. So we're literally at the end now.
Yeah.
If there's only 2 episodes left, this is a 2-parter. This is the start of the final.
I guess so.
This is the start of the finale.
Yeah.
This series, it has dragged its heels for so long.
It's so long to actually fucking get anywhere.
And now I feel like I'm actually starting to...
I don't care enough.
Well, I feel like this episode particularly turned a page for me, and I was like,
I think only because of the Remember Berries.
I think because it was more positive and it was more Star Trek. Not just because of the Remember Berries, because Soji has hope now and things are like moving forward, and it felt like the narrative's been moving forward for the last couple of episodes. And I kind of feel like, I mean, I said with that the Impossible Box, I was like, do you know what? If that was like episode 2 or 3, I would have been like, oh, this series could be good. But it's so late on that I'm like, I feel like if this was like, if Nepenthe was like the middle of the season, I'd be like, cool, maybe we're going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's so late. I'm like, we've got 2 episodes left now. 3 at most. And you know that if there is a third, that third episode is going to be epilogue and then set up for the next season. It's not going to be anything. They're going to end it in the next 2 episodes. The narrative, the story will end. And it's just been so plodding, and it took them so long to leave Earth, and it was so negative and just boring. And now they're just trying to cram it all in at the end. And it's like, why didn't you just get rid of like 3 or... You could have got rid of 3 episodes from the start of this series and actually told a decent story.
Yeah.
With what you've got here, you could have fleshed it out, killed off a lot of the plot holes because you would have had more time rather than wasting all that time on Earth.
I mean, like you said, fuck knows what the original...
mess of a plan was. I mean,
if nothing makes sense and they had to go and redo it all, then
I will give them this. Hats off. This was a hell of a reshoot. This was good. Yeah. This was a good course correction.
I mean, it still didn't feel like it needed to happen. It didn't feel like they went there.
I felt like enough. I felt like enough development happened to where I was like, no, this is furthering. It's furthering the narrative enough to where I was like, okay, fine. And and they explained it reasonable enough. I thought it was okay. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, we got 2 episodes left, right? So we'll see. We'll see what they pull out for the next couple of episodes. But definitely better anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
if this is their course correct.
This was the best episode of a terrible bunch, I suppose. Is what you can say. You know.
Well, I would say,
it's still, again, not
I would
Star
say,
Trek.
well, I would say, in all honesty, this is the first episode, and I wasn't going to bring this up before, but this is the first episode of Picard that I feel these last 2 episodes, particularly this one. Actually, this is the first episode that has felt more Star Trek than Discovery Season 2. Which is a shocking thing to say.
Okay.
But Discovery Season 2 felt more like Star Trek than Picard has this entire season until now. Until Nepenthe. For me, anyway. Mainly because of, Pike and everyone else being in Season 2, which is the main reason I like it. And I'm still all about a Pike show. If they do that, I'll be happy. But
I'm not sure they're going to, but...
I don't know. We'll see, won't we? It's been massively popular, that. I think that's the one thing that everyone's agreed on was like, but Anson Anson Mount as Pike was great, and what's his name, Ethan Peck or whatever, his Spock was pretty good. We'll see where we go from here. So I binged watched Castlevania.
I still haven't started it yet.
Bloody super.
I'm not sure whether I should watch the whole series first. I was thinking of going back and watching it from the beginning.
Oh, do it from the beginning. It's not that long.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Watch it from the beginning. Why not?
Yeah, I haven't had
I actually watched them. I actually watched the first 2 seasons in the run up, so I'd seen them all by the time it came
Is it as
around.
good as season 2?
Season 2 is a masterpiece.
That's the yeah.
I think it's really good. It's taking nothing away from it. Yeah. No, it's not as good as season 2. I don't think.
Okay.
But that's taking nothing away from it because I thought this was a superb season. I still think it's better than season 1.
Right.
Just under season 2 for me. I love season 1,
okay.
but season 2 was amazing. This is still amazing, but for me, it's just lower than season 2. Although, I don't know though, because it's got some great moments in it. And do you know what the best part about this season is? It's not ending here. It's clearly got more to tell.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is what pleased me because 2, at the end of 2, you were like, it could end here, and it would be a satisfying end to the series. Obviously they left things to where it was like, it could continue on, but it was like, this feels like it could be the end. This one is like, no, they're doing more, and I couldn't be more happy because it's it's more of the same in the best way possible,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Cypher and Trevor's relationship continues to grow. Obviously, I won't give anything away because I don't want you to. You're going to go watch it. but Trevor and Cypher's relationship continues to grow. They're like traveling now and killing demons and monsters and stuff, and that's really good. And they get in this really dark plot. It gets really dark. This season gets probably darker than the last one for sure.
Really? Hell.
Oh yeah, there's a moment at the end. It's like, holy shit. Okay.
Okay. I look forward to that then.
And not the big bad either. It's after the big bad. You're like, oh, Jesus. And meanwhile, Alucard is just like sunk into depression and basically like he's basically doing everything he can except kill himself at this point, living in the castle on his own. He's made like finger puppets of Trevor and Cypher, and he's like, like pretending they're talking to him and stuff. But he basically comes across two, I think they're like meant to be twins, or like a boy and a girl, and they were like enslaved by a vampire in Japan, and they've come to him to learn how to fight vampires and how to kill, and he kind of sees them as friends. Basically, he's like, "You're my friends." And he wants company really badly, so he takes them under his wing, and he's showing them the Belmont Hold and all of the books and stuff. He's like, I'm not just teaching you how to kill monsters. I'm passing on the Belmont knowledge because I feel like Trevor would want his family's knowledge to be passed on to future generations of vampire hunters and monster hunters. Actually, fuck it, this might be better than season 2. It's got moments. It's close. It's really close.
Okay.
Like, it's got some really nice bits in this. Like, now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, there's some really nice narrative threads and developments that I think are really good. We also catch up with I forget his name, the the Black Forge Master.
Yeah,
The former slave.
Yeah.
He is. It continues with him and his journey, which is superb. And we also catch up with Carmela, who's with the other Forge Master, and she's got him.
She was awesome in season 2.
There is a terrific sequence in this, which I can't really talk about without spoilers. Yeah. You'll know it when you get to it. There's like.
Is it with Carmela?
No. Although, well, I mean, the story follows Carmela and her plot and what she's planning.
Yeah.
That's left unresolved, actually, which is another thing. They're obviously going to get to a lot of that.
Yeah.
No, you'll know it when you see it, but there's a wonderful scene. It's a real tense, amazingly well-directed, animated scene. There's like multiple characters having sex at this point.
Oh, right.
But also this evil plot going on as well, and things get really tense. I can't really explain it without you seeing it.
Yeah, okay.
But it's such a wonderfully made scene. It's interspersing between the like 3 or 4 different plot lines, because it's very much a fragmented season where everyone's separate. Yeah. Like no one's really, they don't really meet up. They don't meet up. They're all kind of doing their own separate thing, but it all kind of like links together in this wonderful scene. It's like, oh my god, this is such a tense scene. It's amazing. I love it. I can't wait for season 4, and I can't wait to hear what you thought of it when you've seen it.
Well, I'll watch it this week. So
cool. And finally, me and Paula watched the first 2 episodes because they dropped 2 at once. That's very in vogue at the moment, isn't it? TV series that just drop 2 episodes to begin with.
They used to do that before, though.
They did. Yeah. It just seems like lately I've seen a lot of series that have done that. They're like, oh, we'll just drop 2 at once.
Because didn't they do that with Voyager and stuff? I think they put the first. They
might have done. They might have done. It was a 2-parter anyway, isn't it? So I suppose they just did 2-parters. But we watched the first 2 episodes of War of the Worlds. Fox's War of the Worlds.
I was going to say the French one.
Washing the awful taste of that BBC production out of my mouth. Really enjoyable. Really good.
What channel's that on?
It's on Fox. We watched it on you get like a pass thing that you can pay for, and you pay monthly for like this pass on Now TV. So we did it on that, and we were watching it.
Gotcha.
It's really good so far. No tripods yet. I'm assuming tripods will come though. I think there were tripods in the trailer, so I'm pretty sure there are tripods.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
But it's a really cool idea. It doesn't focus on any one.
It's like Gabriel Byrne, isn't it?
It doesn't follow any one character or country. It's people in different countries.
Oh, right, okay.
In different areas, dealing with different things.
Because I thought it was going to be in France, this one.
Some of it is.
Yeah.
Some of it's in France, some of it is in England. It's kind of around the place. I mean, actually, to be fair, they could all link up, actually, to be fair. So some of it's in Paris, some of it's in London, I think, and one character in Paris is trying to get back to his wife and kids in London. He's trying to get back to England. It's superb so far. Love it. Okay. All the characters are compelling. Enjoying it. You haven't seen much yet. Like the invasion has happened. Like they've landed.
Right.
They've landed en masse. A really cool thing as well. Like they have this. I can't remember what his job is, but basically this scientist works out the last moment that the meteors come down and they're emitting like a frequency or something like that. A frequency or like an electromagnetic thing, which they did, they've done before with War of the Worlds. But this guy works out that it's the exact frequency to like kill a human. And basically like the human race just gets like mostly obliterated in one go. Bit. He's basically like, you need to get underground or in metal or something like that to like survive this, basically. And this pulse gets like emitted, and then like our protagonists are the ones that happen to be, for one reason or another, either like in an elevator or underground like there's this kid who is like trying to steal stuff, and he gets chased, and he hides inside of like the trailer of a lorry, like an oil tanker thing. He like hides in that. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, really good though, really good. And we've got like a look at the aliens. They're already just running around in like it sounds like they're in like kind of mechanized suits or something or
Oh,
other.
okay.
But they're human sized, so obviously there's going to be tripods. We just haven't seen them yet. I guess it's
Yeah.
building up to us seeing that.
Okay.
There's been like a standoff in
I'll have
like
to see if
a
I
shopping
can
mall.
watch
Well worth the
those.
watch so far. It's been good. I mean, it's only 2 episodes in, and not very much has happened yet.
Yeah.
But it's fucking leagues above the other one, so I'll take it.
Wouldn't be fucking hard.
I will take it. But that's me up to date.
Yeah.
And yeah. Any news?
I think the only real sort of thing that we could
The
probably...
Batmobile?
The Batmobile, I think, is the only one that I think really that we should probably talk about. What
I
did you think?
fucking love
Me
it.
too. It's fucking awesome.
It
isn't it?
looks
My
incredible.
my only weird gripe is, why is the engine not covered?
I don't mind that. It looks
I mean,
cool.
It looks fucking cool, but it's
looks
like it does seem
cool.
a bit odd that he's got no cover on it.
Well, I'm guessing it's
looks
just-
like a fucking awesome
It's
muscle car.
just so big. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a beast of a
and those
car.
pictures are fantastic. I mean,
They are
him
stunning.
stood next
It's
to
stunning. He looks great in the suit. It all looks great. The cape looks good. We've got to look at a cape now.
Yep.
The thing I like most about this is that they've kind of said it's going to be like year 2, and it really follows that. This looks like a car that Bruce Wayne has taken and modified himself. In the same way with the bike, it's like he's taken a bike and he's made modifications.
Absolutely.
I love the look of this Batmobile.
I
It
do.
looks superb.
I'm really.
I know a lot of
looking
people are complaining. They're like, "Oh, well, it's not a Batmobile. It's like Mad Max."
think
And
it is.
I'm
I
like, "No, it is." And if you look at like some of the '70s Batmobiles were basically cars with
Yeah.
fins and stuff. It's fine. And I mean, earlier than that, if you go back, it was just a car. It was a red car to begin with. But I think it looks really good. It suits the idea that he's early in his career. You can have him working on like a future Batmobile, or he can get more futuristic when he starts working with Fox or whatever.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea because it fits in with the aesthetic of his suit
Yep.
and the bike. That this is not with Lucius Fox. This is like Bruce Wayne and Alfred in the Batcave, kit bashing
things
and
about.
knocking stuff up. And I love that. I love it. I love the
completely
look of
agree.
this. It looks
Yeah.
superb.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I am too. The only thing that got me about this Batmobile design, and it is the only thing, because I don't mind. I agree. Exposed engine is a silly idea,
Yeah.
but it looks cool. So I'm like, oh, it looks cool
Yeah,
enough.
it does
I'll let
look
it go.
Very cool.
I was surprised he didn't have tinted windows. The windows don't appear tinted, and I was like, that seems like an odd choice.
Yeah.
But whatever, don't care. It looks superb. It's an actual working vehicle
Yeah, it kind of looks a bit like a Charger, doesn't it? It's a nice looking thing.
with an engine in the back.
Yeah, with an engine in the back.
But it looks great. The design looks great, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. So we get to see actual car chases that actually happened.
Yeah.
And it's not just a BMW shell with a shell of a Batmobile over the top. I mean, I
Yeah.
know they actually built the Tumbler. To be fair, that was a
Yeah,
real
yeah.
working thing.
I never liked the Tumbler.
Nor did I. Don't like the look
I
of
think
it. Sorry.
the Tumbler's great, but that should have been like something you saw in the third movie.
It's also really fucking dumb. That's my other issue with the Tumbler. Like
in what way is it?
the way that like Nolan was, and I love the Dark Knight trilogy. Don't get me wrong. Well, certainly the first two. I know you're not a big fan of the second
Right.
one. But the thing is, like, Nolan was like, this is going to be a grounded, realistic Batman, and that instantly red flags for me because I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Batman's ridiculous. As soon as you try and make it realistic, you're in trouble. And the problem is, he's like, oh, it's realistic, so we need to give a realistic explanation for this Batmobile. The explanation is retarded. So this is a bridging vehicle. Now, there are bridging vehicles out there.
Yeah.
They exist. But the idea that
they're
you've
pretty
made
cool too.
a fucking tank, and the idea is someone designed a tank that's meant to jump over chasms, towing cables to... Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. That's the dumbest fucking design. It's like... It's just stupid. It's stupid and it doesn't work. Like, you should have just been like, it's an advanced tank that we made.
Yeah.
Like, fine. But no, I didn't like aesthetically. I don't like the look of the Tumbler. It grew on me as time
No,
went
I mean
on.
it's kind of similar to the Batmobile in the Dark Knight Returns. It's got
Well,
that
it's
sort
not
of big chunky,
Big enough.
No.
Or,
but it's for me, it's the sort of thing that should have been something that he uses in the third movie as like a some situation arises and that's the
All
special,
hope is lost.
That's the special vehicle that he uses. He should have had like a almost like a standard Batmobile to begin with. I think, just a souped up car.
I was much happier with the Batman v Superman Batmobile. Thought that looked great.
Yeah.
Loved that design. And I love this design. I think for the story they're trying to tell, that more noir, kind of, I guess, almost grounded in a way, but certainly
it's going to be sort of more. Yeah,
he's a detective in this.
They've told us stuff. It does depend on how it's going to happen. We don't know. Really,
we don't know. At the moment, it all sounds super positive,
so far,
and everything I've seen
really
looks tremendous. So I'm super happy with that.
I'm totally on board. It's looking really good so far. So we'll see how it goes.
Looking forward to it, very much so.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing was you heard the thing about Palpatine there.
Oh, he's a clone. He's a clone the whole time.
Yeah, it's a
so
clone
that means
the whole time.
that Rey is the offspring of a clone?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And also...
I've still not watched The Last Jedi.
If he is a clone...
Or not The Last Jedi. I have seen The Last Jedi, unfortunately. I haven't seen fucking...
Why is he a clone of the Emperor with all these... knackeredness and damage and...
Well, they don't explain that.
Doesn't make sense
or is he like knackered because he was a bad, crappy clone? I don't know. And if he's a clone, why didn't he just put himself out there rather than bloody Snoke? Like, none of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense.
It doesn't.
The Death Star could have blown up, and if he had a clone, he could have just been like, "Look, I'm still alive."
They're still retroactively trying to fix
the mess that they've created. Yeah,
and I don't think anybody's buying it.
No
one's fucking. It's like, oh god, you've already.
Now that's a serious. I mean, you were saying like
yourself a pit.
You were saying like Doctor Who, you just don't care anymore. I don't care about Star Wars anymore. I don't give a shit. I honestly don't. I've not seen Rise of Skywalker. I will watch it when it comes to TV,
for me.
But I really don't care. I really don't. The original trilogy's great. Stick with that.
It's like, for me, it's like the Holy Three, and they've kicked all of them in the fucking balls.
Thank fuck that Lord of the Rings is alright for now.
Well,
actually, and Back to the Future. There's two trilogies there.
Well, they still keep saying that the guy said,
he's not having that happen over his dead body, literally.
He said, what was it? Something about it's about like along the lines of why would I rape my children? I think is what he it's how he puts it. It's like.
It's a great trilogy, and I mean, Lord of the Rings now stands as probably the best trilogy since everything else has been sequelized and ruined.
I mean,
because you can't really call Star Wars a trilogy anymore. It's a saga, and it's a completely ruined, knackered saga. So fine.
Again, I think you just have to cut your brain off to a certain point. You have to go right. This far, no further.
Yeah, and I already did that because I hated the prequels, so I was always like, I'm fine with the original trilogy, and that's why it's not really bothered me that they've knackered it now. I'm like, well, the original trilogy's fine. I'm happy with that. Same as Doctor Who. Happy with Doctor Who.
Doctor Who's been the worst one for me. I think it's
well, that was closest to
my heart, and it's a real kick in the teeth. That.
Anyway,
but
a lot of positive.
Maybe they can fix it eventually. I don't know.
Who knows? A lot of positive from this episode, though. Colour Out of Space. Mm-hmm. Go see it.
Yep.
Invisible Man. Go see it. Girl on the Third Floor. If you're on Netflix, go see it. And if you're a Deep Space Nine fan, What We Leave Behind, well worth the rent as well. And Castlevania. Go see Castlevania. Yeah. Tremendous. So, good stuff. I think the film to watch before too long, I guess. But in any case, until next time.